welcome to Generational Wellbeing with Dr. Lum. Thank you for joining me here today, where I provide you with simple, practical tips on how you can create sustainable, healthy habits for you and your family for generations to come. Please like, share, and subscribe. So today I will be talking about how you can improve your health by managing your stress levels. So unfortunately for us today, we're in a state of chronic stress based on what's going on the outside, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's the war, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's other viruses that just keep coming up, where it's just like we don't know the end to all of this. So our bodies are in this state of chronic stress that is not really serving us. So normally our bodies are built to respond to stress that is just episodic, where if you're in the face of say a pandemic or a shooting or something happens, all the blood flow leaves your GI system to the muscles and you're hyper vigilant, so you can actually run to safety. So it's your body's way of actually protecting us. But then after that event, you're meant to rest and kind of get into a state of restoration. But unfortunately for us today, it's so chronic where there's no time where we're actually taking time to rest and restore, where your body can go back to its normal function. As a result, we're seeing a lot of kids and adults who are presenting with symptoms of abdominal pain, indigestion, GI problems, because there's no blood flow there, and the blood flow has gone to the muscles. So we see people with muscle aches and stuff because there's a buildup in lactic acids too. Another thing that happens when we're in that chronic state of stress is that hormone levels are increased too. That will lead to insulin resistance. So we're seeing a higher level of diagnosis of diabetes. And then you have this change in fat distributions, where you have that belly fat that it doesn't matter what you're trying to do, it's not going your way. So we're seeing a high level of diabetes and obesity too. Your heart rate has gone up, blood pressure has gone up. So we're seeing an increase in blood pressure, and all these things that we can really try take care of without the medications, but by dealing or managing our stress. So recently I'm seeing a lot of people, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, high lipid levels, where you're taking medications for all these things, which are all, if when you look at it and try to really pay attention to it, can be as a result to stress. So what can we do then to, manage or help our stress levels so we're not ending up with all these diseases and stuff? So the first thing is really a mindset shift, because our body cannot really distinguish true stress versus perceived stress. Because a lot of times with the news we see out there, with what's going on around us, it's just like this constant state of perceived stress. So our body is going to react to it as though the stress is real. And a lot of times too, we're worried about the past or the future and holding on to stuff like that, with this automatic negative thoughts that keep coming through our minds. As long as we're in that constant state of perception of stress, our body is going to keep reacting that way. So it's really stopping and paying attention to the thoughts that are going through your mind, and really being intentional about being in the present moment, whether it's through mindful breathing, meditation, yoga, or exercises and stuff. Just really being intentional about getting into that space of relaxation. What that helps is, it helps bring your body back to that restoration phase. It helps improve your sleep because you're not in that hypervigilant state as well. The second thing I'll say is, that is extremely important, is being mindful of the foods you eat. Again, when we're in a stressful state, we tend to have those cravings for the things that are really not in supportive of our health at that point. Reach out for a bag of donuts and stuff because the sugar makes me feel better. Or we reach out for Cokes or high energy drinks, because the stress itself is really mentally, physical, and emotionally exhausting. So in an attempt to kind of fight over that exhaustion or that hump, we're trying to do or put things in our bodies to help give us the energy, but are not understanding that the energy drinks, the sugary drinks and stuff, increases the inflammation that makes our bodies, which worsens the situation. Inflammation will lead to brain fog, which makes you more exhausted. It leads you to the high, again, back to the diabetes, the obesity, all the things that we're doing. So instead of just reaching out, like subconsciously to the sugars and the high energy stuff. Just being mindful to say, okay, I'm going to put in my body what it actually needs to decrease the inflammation. Foods that are high in healthy fats with omega 3s, nuts and seeds are really good. Avocados, wild caught fish are really good. High protein diets are really good for the brain too. Grass fed beef, nuts and seeds for those who do not eat vegetarian options and stuff like that. Those are amazing options where instead of reaching out for the other stuff, let's reach out for that bag of nuts and the things that are lower in the sugar, and remove the sugar from the diet, because sugar is the number one reason why I see a lot of inflammation in kids. Yeah, most of the kids' diets is really unfortunate because almost every other option that's available for kids high in sugar. So really paying attention to the labels of the stuff that you're putting into your body, even the label of the stuff that's labeled as healthy. Just look at the added sugar. If you're not a person who would read labels, just look at added sugars in there. If you have more than 23 grams of sugar, you know you're already in the red zone, because that's more than your total daily recommended value. Now, the third thing I would say is exercise. Exercise or activity movement is one of the actually my number one recommendation for emotional healing. A lot of times we really don't pay attention to our emotional well-being because it's not seen, or we don't see it as a physical. We don't really pay attention to it. So sometimes that exhaustion might be because of that emotional exhaustion, where you can help release that tension and stuff through walking, whether it's walking outside. I particularly like the walks outside because it has added benefits of vitamin D as well, and just something about the nature that helps with the cleansing and release and stuff. And also it helps you be present too. When you're walking, you can either listen to music or just being present and being appreciative of what your environment is. So it really brings you back to the present as well. Now, the third thing is a good release, whether it's through a cry, whether it's through hugging someone or relationship with something. Or in our society, there's this misconception that crying means weak, but research actually shows that when you cry, the tears in it releases toxins. So think about crying as a mental detox, for lack of a better word. So sometimes instead of really holding on to or bulking up or holding back on those tears, if you face a very particularly stressful situation and you feel like crying, just let it out. Think about it as a mental detox and stuff. But now after crying, you have to plan on how to survive, on how to get through or face that situation or face that stressful situation. Because guess what you avoid will keep haunting you, and it's going to continue or help lead you back into that continuous visual it's going to lead you back to this cycle, like a spiral, that's downward spiral. So really crying, releasing, connecting with others you can talk to just to let it out, and then planning, have a good action plan to be able to face and deal with whatever the situation may be. So hope this was helpful and this resonates. Leave any comments or questions you have in the box and I will be sure to get back to you. Thank you again for listening. This is Dr. Lum.